Welcome to the Tom Waller podcast. Just going to get started over here for the recording elsewhere. Welcome to the Tom Waller podcast, Sunday Sessions, Season 4. Really excited to be with you. This season of the podcast is going to be a lot more authentic, a lot more real. And I'm going to sit down with you and just have a general conversation. I'm also going to be inviting great guests on the podcast and back on the podcast to share some of their messages with us that we haven't had in a while. So today I wanted to talk about showing up as you and being the authentic you. Now, this is really for chiropractors when they're working with their patients, but also for patients who are seeing a chiropractor, a spinologist, a therapist, or something. If there isn't that genuine and real connection, then is that person showing up authentically? And if they're not showing up authentically, are they really doing what they're meant to be doing? So it comes to me really when I think about having a successful practice, having a successful life, doing what you really enjoy and what you really want to do. It's so important that you really show up as you. You see, so many of us put on this professional facade and we go into our practice or we go into our workplace as someone, and then we go home as somebody else, and it just sets us up for failure every single time. I mean, not everyone can be Clark Kent and Superman at the same time. What we have to try and do is be Superman at every single aspect and facet of our life. So what I wanted to do and share with you on this Sunday session is how are you really showing up as you? And the reason I open with this as our first Sunday session for the Tom Waller podcast is that I want to try and do this for this episode with you. I want to try and bring a true, authentic version of me to this episode. I want to try and teach you what I have learned. And in my learnings, hopefully you can learn and grow a better practice. I think if I look back at my practice and think about its growth and transition over time, it's a really successful practice. And from the start, from day one, it was super successful. But what we found sort of after a couple of years is that the success was riding off the back of trying to be someone I wasn't or forcing something. And the long story short is I became quite ill, became quite sick in that process. And what I learned was that what I really need to do is to take the mask off and show up as me every single day. Now, some simple things I teach my clients, and this might seem really obvious to you or a bit too simple of an answer, is start turning up wearing what you want. I think this really turns over from when I was trying to be a professional, and I suppose conversations with my dad would say, a professional has to turn up in a tie and wear a shirt. And my first year of practice, before I owned my own practice, I remember I used to wear a shirt and tie every day, and God, it got hot under the collar trying to work with people in that dress. And there's still a lot of people in the profession who say, you've got to be smarter dressed than your smartest patient. And I said, well, then you're trying to be like your smartest patient. Why are you trying to be like you? You know, if you like socks and sliders or whatever these kids are wearing these days, why not show up in those? Just be an authentic version of you on that day. And if you want to speak a certain language, if you want to act a certain way, build your practice around that. Build your dreams around that. Build your life around that. I did a post yesterday. We just come back from a holiday away, and I said, what's a holiday like with the Wallers? Well, it's just like every other day. We get up, we exercise, we do some work, we enjoy each other's company, we see some nature, we maybe do a little bit more work, and we finish our day. Because we created a life that we want, showing up authentically as we are in every single situation. There's not much difference between a Sunday and a Monday. You know, I'm recording this on a Sunday. You might think this is, why are you working on a Sunday? Well, because it's what I want to do. It's how I want to show up. So my question to you is, if your days are looking the same, then maybe you've got it right. But if your Sunday is very different from your Monday, are you really showing up as you should? Are you really being the person that you're meant to be? You see, incongruency breeds destruction. And destruction is proportional to the level of incongruency. But success is built on congruency of you being you, showing up as you, and doing what you do. So as you go into practice this week, I've been waffling on for a little bit. But the short of it really is, I want you to think about showing up as you. I want you to think about how can you come to the table today? Instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I need more new patients, or oh, I hope everybody converts to care. What if you just turned up as you to serve your community in the way that you want to? And I can tell you, everyone I've worked with as clients, their practices have grown when they've taken this on board. My practice thrives on it being an extension of my personality. Take that with you this week. See how you can bring your personality to life and see what happens. So this is Sunday Soul Sessions on the Tom Waller podcast. I cannot wait to come and give you another one next Sunday. Wednesday, we'll have the release of our regular podcast, which is going to be either an interview or it's going to be a longer discussion with me on some kind of philosophy or practice growth. If there's anything you want us to learn, discuss, make sure you tune in. Make sure you check out the Instagram where 2 Minutes with Tom is coming back. 2 Minutes with Tom was a successful YouTube thing I did a long time ago, years ago. But there's a daily check-in, 2 Minutes with Tom. That's on Instagram. So make sure you check that out too. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next podcast and have yourself a wonderful Sunday. Stop that recording. YouTube, have a great day. Look forward to seeing you all very soon.